Beaver County, I mean, this community in particular, you make a really important point. Look, in other parts of this country, the conversations around white privilege, around anti-racism, around being an ally, they've been had for a long time. I'm meeting people right now who are just starting to wrestle with those terms
Yes.
and to educate themselves. Talk about what particular challenges and why, talk about why your approach is what it is here.
So we make up a small population, which is well known as in terms of African Americans. So here in Beaver County, most white people, they do not have to change their ways nor wrestle with those thoughts, right? Because they can go a lifetime and never see me. They never have to do business with me. I have to do business with white people every day that I leave this house. So their perspective may be in a certain way about me, where truthfully they don't feel like they have to make any changes. I have to make them aware. I have to become their conscience when they see me. That I become their conscience that we do have to make some changes. I do have to become visible. How? Because if I'm part of this community, I can help make it flourish. You know, I'm not here to cause trouble and harm to this community. I'm here to make this community flourish. I have a wife, I have children, I have a grandson. Do I want to blow that? No, no way I want to blow that. But these are the things that that we have to come to terms with, right? Police say, at the end of the day, I want to go home. I want to feel safe. That's why I made the split-second decision and shot him. Well, guess what? We want to go home too. We want to feel safe too. And I tell these policemen around our table all the time, law enforcement, I say, please do all that you can to put the handcuffs on that guy and put him in the car. Because we all have concerns. If that man did something wrong, he got to face the judge, not you. Put the handcuffs on him and put him in the car. It's just like you. You want to go home and, I'm human. Yeah, we see that. But we are too. And those are the things that we want them to do. We want them to value us as humans and not as a target or as a problem maker. So Beaver County has to mature in a lot of ways, yes, and I have begun a lot of conversations about white privilege with some people, and for some of them, it's like a curse word. Mm. It's like, I've been likening it to a white person calling me the N-word.
That's how intense the reaction is.
That's how intense it is.
Wow.
How never, how dare you? And it's like, well, no, just look it up, and you'll clearly understand what it means, right? It's not to offend you. It is for you to begin to recognize and become aware of what's been standing in front of a good relationship. I go back to 1619, when the first 50 African Americans landed in America. Came over here on 2 ships, English pirate ships, the White Lion and the Treasurer, which they stole from a Portuguese ship who had 250 Africans on there. They stole them from there, they brought them to America, which they landed in Port Comfort, which is now known as Virginia. And when they got here, their plan was, I'm gonna sell these 50 slaves for something to eat. Thus, here we begin a peculiar relationship. First time seeing white people, and this is where our relationship is, right? It's in this relationship of he owns me. He can do what he wants with me. And it all was, when I read that article, it was terror all the way to Port Comfort. So it was a brainwashing. And here's this relation, and here's what we are in front of 401 years, because that happened August 30th, 1619. So here's a relationship for 401 years that has been taking place, and it has never had a give to it like the Native Americans. They've had a little give and they had a little compensation. African Americans have never had a compensation. We've never had an apology, let alone that. So this is what we're battling. That's why we need unity. It cannot be contentious.
Considering how much is stacked against your goals here, this is a 90% white community.
Mm-hmm.
It is a conservative
Mm-hmm.
community, a smaller and fairly segregated community. Considering all of the obstacles here in Beaver for what you're trying to achieve, are you surprised by the people that showed up over the last week? Are you surprised by those crowds? And what do you think it says about Beaver County that folks have come out?
So yes, and not to contradict myself from earlier, but yes, I am surprised because of the thought process of a lot of people here in Beaver County. But at the same time, again, from previous conversations, I begin to understand that people are fed up, and we're finding those people, those middle of the road people, because there's some we know that they're going to stay over there. They love how things go, keep it this way, make America great again, all that crap, and then there's some in the middle that's sitting there thinking, you know what, just maybe. And those are the ones I want to have a conversation with, because those are the ones that I believe that are ripe and open for an honest conversation of, if you just look at what has oppressed me and how you have offended me as a human for all these years, I believe their hearts will be, I believe their hearts are in a place now where their ears will open now to these conversations.
And look, I mean, not all of Beaver County showed up.
No.
But a few hundred people did. What does that say about what's happening in Beaver County, especially considering that odds are kind of stacked against you here?
Yeah. So I think it's a step in the right direction, right? So we got a long road ahead of us. There's a journey ahead of us, and we're going to have oppositions from both sides coming at us, black and white, that's going to come against this. Why? Because of the approach that you mentioned earlier. Why unity? Why can't it be just Black Lives Matter? And then it's going to be these people. Oh, we don't trust them. They're going to come and throw bricks through our window. We're going to get that. But again, I think if we can get those people in the middle that are now ready to listen to a conversation and now ready, again, I heard a woman say a couple weeks ago, I just didn't know. And we have to honor that. Some people just don't know. They didn't have to. Their perspective is theirs. It's just like a lot of black people. For the most part, like I grew up with my grandmother. I mean, if I was sticking with my grandmother told me all white people were evil, so I would be there still. And I wouldn't have good friends that I have now. I wouldn't want to sit in the same room and eat with them because I would have that thought. At some point, and everybody's not going to agree with this, at some point, we just got to sit at the dinner table and talk about this and work some things out. I'm going to stick to unity. That's my hand, and I'm going to play it.
I think the point, I just didn't know, that's something I've heard from just about everybody I've had this conversation with, and I think you've done a lot to help them start asking those questions, maybe get some answers too.
Yeah, I mean, so why would they have to know it? Being that you know, Beaver County is 90% white. Again, as I said earlier, it's just, some of them never have to lay their eyes on me. None of them never have to have a conversation with me, let alone be in the same room with me. Because for some of the people that live in a rural area, they may have never seen a black person except for on TV. And what maybe what they have seen from the media, right? And that's where some of them gather their perspective from.
And there are a lot of black people in America living in communities where they really truly are a minority, a single digits 6-7% minority.
Yes, right here in my community.
Exactly.
Yeah, you know.
This is not just Beaver County where we find a Shon Owens.
Yes, right, and so those are the things that we are contending with. How do we become visible and heard, as I spoke yesterday about that? Us being visible and heard, and then valuing that there are some good black people out there and intelligent black people that can lend to the growth of America. Just lend to the growth of America. Because America has stalled. You care what they say, America has stalled. And you know how I kind of gauge it? Just look at the Olympics now, where we used to dominate.
Sports says a lot about it.
You better
Sports
believe
says
it.
a lot about the world.
Says a lot about the world, and now we're doing okay because you see the first African American to win this, and first African American participating in this. It's like our country is several hundred years old. And we're having the first African American participate in this and that. When do we become a part of America? I think that's the big cry. When do we become a part? And then we won't have George Floyd incidents. Then we won't have Breonna Taylor laying in her home, resting in her home. We won't have those incidents, right? Those situations. We won't have Ahmaud Arbery running down the street, you know, like this street, because I can see him taking off up our street, jogging, and I can see someone over here in this community. You lost? You lost, bud? Oh, I'm out here cutting my grass on my rider sometime, and they're taking double looks. So
you got a long way to go.
It's a long way to go.
What's next here in Beaver for you?
Wow. Now we need to lay out some of our requests. That's
What are
our
your requests?
Some of our requests are definitely we need this George Floyd police reform bill to be passed in the Senate. That's number one. No chokehold, this immunity piece that police are allowed that often gets them off. Banning, again, the chokehold, banning different holds that where people are restricted from breathing. These are the things that are important to us right now. Beginning to approach our education system, because here in Beaver County we make up a small population, and most of our kids go to the same schools. Unless you live in one of these areas where you're probably only 1 of 15 in the total school district, black kids. But our school districts, like Aliquippa, they suffer when the COVID hit. Half of our kids received a laptop. It's like a lottery system, because that's what they can afford. And our school district did the best they could in getting everyone a laptop to continue their education, but the travesty in it all was, how come money didn't pour in to help some of our other kids that were not afforded the opportunity to have a laptop or a tablet? That would have been ideal if all the other kids in these other school districts that are wealthy and can do that, send their kids home with a tablet. Why didn't they have a mind to help the young black kids in the Aliquippa school district? Black people just want an opportunity. You know, we don't want a handout. We don't want anybody. Just give us an opportunity. Give us a laptop and let us continue our learning process or our learning experience as well. So just looking for opportunities. Those are some of the things that we're going to be striving to push for.
And I think we're about to run out of card space, so I'm gonna wrap it up. But this is the first or the second of more conversations, and I'm eager to see where all this goes.
Yeah, I am too. You know, and the thing about it is just I want to know, you know, exactly how much this will influence some people here in Beaver County to begin to even think about change. That I think right now that is the best thing that we can ask for people to think about change. When I can come outside and speak to a neighbor and the first thing that we talk about is, how's the Aliquippa football team doing? Like, I don't know. Man, I guess they're okay. You know? It's like, I got something else on my mind, man. Where my kids gonna get a freaking laptop from, man? You know, so it's not those things, those conversations changing, right? And I know, again, learning from maturity and with wisdom, I know those are they're comfortable ways of having a conversation or starting a conversation. But now I'm letting them know those conversations are not okay with me. I'm broader than that. My thinking is broader. You know, I listen to classical music, so I think way on a whole different level than you may think I think. So I want them to begin to let's broaden our conversation a little more and understand who I am. And as, like I said yesterday, get to know me first before you say you don't like me.
Thank you so much, Shon.